What's up, everyone? Welcome to this day in Philly sports history for December 27th, 2022. Relatively quiet on the Philly sports front yesterday. I guess everybody had a chance to digest and celebrate their Christmas. Sixers in action tonight. They play the Wizards, looking for their ninth straight. Very excited. Santa got our family Sixers tickets for next Friday night against the Chicago Bulls. So we are all looking forward to going and being able to see a game in person. It's kids' first Sixers game. They've been down to a couple Temple games. So thank you very, very much, Santa Claus, for that. We are looking forward to putting on our new Sixers gear and cheering on the Sixers. Hopefully they'll have continued the winning streak by that point and be looking for about 11, 12 in a row at that point. Few injury updates for the Eagles. The big news is Lane Johnson's out for at least the regular season with a torn ab, which sounds absolutely 100% like the most painful thing you could ever have. A strained ab is bad enough, but a torn ab, it just sounds uncomfortable and painful. Not sure what they're going to do as far as who's going to step in. I've read some places that Jake Driscoll is going to step in. I read some places where they might actually slide Mailata over into that spot and put Dillard there. So I guess it's still early enough in the week that nobody's really sure what's going on, but it's definitely worth monitoring because I feel if he's not there into that playoff run, that's a huge, huge loss. So I want to keep monitoring that and see where he is. They didn't rule him out for the entire season, so that's a good thing. But I mean, I have I don't know. This could be one of those things where it's just a pain tolerance thing. I don't know if you could make your ab tear worse by playing, but it just sounds ridiculously painful and like something I don't ever want to have to experience in my life. The other injury news is Avonte Maddox is out indefinitely with a toe injury. I'm not sure how long or really what's wrong with his toe. It's just been called a toe injury as of last night when I was looking up. But the good news is C.J. Gardner-Johnson is eligible to come off of the IR. Not sure if he's going to be ready to play this week, though. He was out with the lacerated kidney, so obviously that's a very serious thing. Not sure how much he's been able to kind of work out and train, so not sure if he's going to be ready for this week or even possibly next week against the Giants. But it does look like he might be there for the playoff run, so hopefully that means he can play with one of these next two regular season games. But still, also no update on Jalen Hurts. He hasn't been ruled out, and I don't know. I could see it going either way. Having him come in and just kind of play this game, I feel like it. I don't know, because I do think they're able to beat the Saints with Gardner Minshew. It's only Tuesday, so we have some time to figure that out. The game is actually on Sunday. It's supposed to be a balmy 60 degrees too, which I'm definitely looking forward to not going down to an Eagles game and freezing my ass off. So got that going for us. But this day in Philly sports history, we're going to go back to 2009. The Eagles were in first place. The Broncos came in week 16, the last regular season game at the Link. They were looking forward to clinching the division or winning the division. They couldn't clinch this day, but winning the division and hosting a playoff game. But they jumped out 20-7 on the Broncos. Broncos stormed back in the second half to tie it, and it took a David Akers 28-yarder with 7 seconds left to end the game for the Eagles. So they came out on top 30-27. This game was probably more known for Donovan McNabb. This turned out, which we didn't know at the time, this was Donovan's final home game as quarterback of the Eagles. So in that offseason, he was sent to Washington. And again, we didn't know it at the time. We didn't know he was not going to be back. We didn't know we weren't going to see another playoff game. But in his final home game, he threw 20 for 35 for 332 yards, 3 TDs, an interception, and lost a fumble. Brent Selleck had a big game, 4 for 121 yards and a touchdown. But again, this was turned out to be Donovan's last home game because what it did, it set up a Week 17 winner take all game in Dallas for the NFC East Championship. Eagles went down and got blown out in that game. And I remember that next week in the wild card, everybody's like, oh, there's no way the Cowboys are going to blow them out or this, that, back-to-back weeks. And unfortunately, they got blown out the next week in the wild card game. I remember watching it up in the Poconos. You might remember that was the Donovan McNabb guitar game coming out of the tunnel in what would be his final home game or final game as Eagles quarterback. But back to this day, 2009, they did beat the Broncos. Donovan had a pretty solid game, which basically that's what he did. Usually he was good for 300 yards, a few touchdowns, possibly an interception, fumble, whatever. But that was a pretty standard Donovan game. And when he left, all time, he still is the club's all-time leader in completions, yards, touchdowns, as well as wins. He not only has the most wins, but he has the highest winning percentage. Jalen Hurts is kind of right there with him. But actually, I take that back. Nick Foles has a slightly higher winning percentage than Nick Foles, but Donovan did it over way more games. So winning percentage-wise, it's Nick, Donovan, and then Jalen. But either way, greatest quarterback in Eagles history statistic-wise. One of my all-time favorite Eagles, believe it or not, even though I've always said on this pod I would do my best to stick up for Donovan. I feel like since I've started it back in July, I've done nothing but rip the guy. But he is one of my all-time favorites. Very disappointing that they never won anything with them, but we had a hell of a run. Our season ticket group kind of coincided with the beginning of Donovan's career, so this is year 22 now for us having season tickets, and the first 10 years was just amazing. I mean, that was the golden era of Eagle football. We just never saw a Super Bowl. So this day, back in 2009, Eagles beat the Broncos 30-27 in what would turn out to be Donovan's last home game as an Eagle. But more on the updates. Hopefully things get a little bit clearer as the week goes on, but I'll have way more on that Saints game as the week goes on. Go have yourselves a Tuesday, and until next time, I'll see you when I see you.